Most people think stress is something that happens to you. So you'll hear people say, my job is stressing me out, or my children are stressing me out, or this situation is really stressful. But in reality, stress is not something that happens to you. Stress is what you do with what happens to you. Stress is your reaction. In stress research, this is called the stress response. This is bad news and good news. The bad news is that you play a huge part in your own stress. The good news is that you can play a huge part in reducing your own stress. What if I say to you, nothing and no one can make you stressed without your cooperation? If you want to start exploring stress, it might help you to use the word pressure for the things that happen in your life and stress as your reaction to those pressures. I'm going to put together a few pieces of a jigsaw puzzle so that you can get a proper picture of stress. Let me introduce you to something called a relaxometer. When I put these two straps around my fingers quite tightly and I switch the machine on, I'm not going to hurt myself, I hope. You should be able to hear a noise. Now, if I start thinking a troubling thought, the tone should go up. 1.5 seconds after I think that troubling thought, the sweat on my skin changes. And if I relax and think kind, gentle, peaceful thoughts, the tone goes down. In this case, we are measuring something called skin conductance. So the first piece of your puzzle is that stress is a reaction. The sweat on my skin is reacting to the thoughts in my head. Second piece of the puzzle is that stress is a reaction to change. I started off calm and my thoughts changed to troubled. If you were to put these relaxometer straps on your fingers, you would get a different scale of noise. Certainly your troubled thoughts would be different to mine. What stresses you and what stresses me will be different because we're different people. So third piece of the puzzle is that stress is my reaction to change. Now, when I say troubled thought with this relaxometer, I'm really talking about an irritated or an angry thought. So next piece of your puzzle is that stress is my angry reaction to change. Anger will always be there somewhere in the stress story. What most people don't realize is that when you use the word stress, you can often replace it with the word anger. This is really important when it comes to understanding the stress process. As we piece the puzzle together, you can see with the relaxometer, it's clear we're measuring something physical, sweat on my fingers. You already know about a whole host of physical symptoms of stress. Your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, your breathing increases, your muscles tighten, the pupils in your eyes dilate, hair stands up on the back of your neck. In short, you're gearing up for action. But there are other things that are not so obvious. Blood is diverted from your digestion to your muscles. Your mouth can go a bit dry. You can even start shaking. Longer-term stress can put you at greater risk of infections by reducing the effectiveness of your immune system. It has been observed that stressed children have reduced growth rates, and all kinds of hormonal problems arise with high levels of stress. Some people eat more by way of comfort eating. Some people eat less, and each group envies the other. Some people sleep too much and have difficulty waking up, while others can't get to sleep or wake up in the night worried. Again, stress affects different people in different ways. It's been noted that hair loss and loss of muscle strength and bone density can be linked to stress. The World Health Organization has stated that stress can be implicated in 7 out of the top 10 killers in the world. It's a nasty business. So the next piece of your puzzle is that stress is my angry, physical reaction to change. But where is the change taking place? With my relaxometer, the change is in my thoughts and being measured on my skin. So the next piece of your puzzle is that stress is my angry, physical and mental reaction to change. But the change can also be in your feelings. You know, you can go from feeling relaxed to feeling stressed. In fact, your most common way of describing your own stress is likely to be that you feel stressed. You don't tend to say, I think stressed, even though things will be happening in your thoughts. So the next piece of your puzzle adds up to stress is my angry, mental, emotional, and physical reaction to change. Last question is this. Is the change happening outside of you or inside of you? Inside of you, you might change your mind, change your thoughts, or change your beliefs, or change your view of your world or of your life. Outside of you, there might be a change in your job or your family circumstances or your finances. You may go through a divorce or lose a loved one. You may even experience a positive change like promotion or increase in your money, but it's still change. If you want the jargon, this is called exogenous, outside, and endogenous, inside factors. Strangely, it might be that you experience a change in the number of arguments you have with your friends or your partner. If you're a 3-argument-a-week person and it goes down to 1, that's change. If it goes up to 5, that's change. So here's your full puzzle picture of stress. Stress is my angry, mental, emotional, or physical reaction to internal or external change. It's a bit of a mouthful, but if you can get hold of this idea, it will bring great insight to your life and it will reduce the confusion you may carry about stress. Confusion itself is stressful, so the more you can understand the meaning of stress, the better you will be able to deal with it. People often say to me, can you give me a quick definition of stress and how to deal with it? I sort of can, but as you now know, stress is a bit more complicated than that. If you want less words and a simpler description of stress, then I suggest you think about the word pressure again. I can trim down the puzzle jigsaw by telling you stress is your reaction to pressure. What I've tried to show you is that pressure builds up in your mind, your body, and your emotions, and that pressure comes from inside as well as outside. Stress is your personal angry reaction to pressure. Although it's difficult to make stress simple, I can give you a few questions for you to ask yourself to help you understand your own stress. First question, what's changed? Somewhere in your story, something will have changed. It's not always obvious, but there will be a change somewhere. Second question is, what am I angry about? Anger is not all about rage and fury. It can just be a frustration or irritation or something that is not going your way. Third question, is the pain mainly in my mind, my body, or my feelings? Or is it a combination, which is the most common, of course? Fourth question, is the change in my life something outside of me, like a job change, school change, friendship change? Or is it inside of me, like I'm just not happy with this anymore, or I used to believe this, but now I believe that. I was once okay with this, but I'm not okay with it anymore. There is a story in the Bible about a character called Jonah. Jonah was asked to go and take a message to a city called Nineveh in Iraq. He took his message and the people received it very well, and he was not happy. He sits down in the shade of a tree, still angry, but at least shaded. Then the tree dies and Jonah is furious. God then asks him a question. Have you any right to be angry? Believe it or not, this is one of the most important questions to ask yourself in the face of stress. Sometimes you are right to be angry. You may have been wronged or insulted, but it is never right to stay angry. And it's this holding on to anger or holding on to your angry reactions that is so dangerous for your physical, mental, and emotional health. There are some massive alternatives to anger that Jesus shows us in his teaching, in his life, and in his death. They might surprise you. We will explore them another time, but if you can get your head round what I've been saying to you, you will get wisdom which will serve you for the rest of your life as you face your stress.